Hey everybody, welcome back to my Pjpt study session. This is session 2, kind of building off session 1 that I've done. This one's going to be about bloodhound and plumhound, how to use that to enumerate the Active Directory. So kind of like a GUI interface so you can see all the information that you've captured. So if you have any questions, comments, drop those in the chat. Be sure to like and share this video. If you haven't seen the first one, it's pretty much every step you need to compromise a domain. There's 3 different ways I showed you on there how to compromise a domain, so be sure to check that out and give it a like and share as well. So with that, we'll go ahead and jump in and show you how to use Bloodhound. So I'm inside my virtual machine here. It's Kali Linux. I'm sure most of you guys have this if you're studying for your Pjpt. Excuse me. So it's pretty simple to use Bloodhound. It's usually installed with Kali. If you don't have Bloodhound, you can get it from GitHub as well, and I know Heath covers that in the PH course that they offer with TCM. So let me get the thing pulled up. We'll get started. Sorry guys, I'm fighting off a cold right now, so little coffee. All right, so first thing we're going to start with, we're going to do the Neo4j console, which is used for the Bloodhound. So to get that started, you'll do Neo4j console. Well, we'll do sudo. So we open up admin privileges here. 4j console. Enter your password. And that will start to run. Okay. Now that that's going, I'll go ahead and open up a new tab. And something I like to do, you guys may like to do this as well, is I'll rename my tabs on here. Like from Pjpt study test, I'll name this one my Neo4j, just so I kind of know what's what running, and I'm going back and forth trying to figure it out. For console, and I'll name this one Bloodhound. And then I want to use one more tab. This is just to make a file or a directory for my Bloodhound information that I obtain. So let's call this BH directory. Sounds good. You can call these whatever you want, guys, whatever makes sense to you, that you'll be able to recognize what you got going on. So we got Neo4j running. Now we need to start and get Bloodhound going. Do sudo Bloodhound. That started. You're going to log in with the username and password. You should have set this up during the PH course that you went through. So just log in with your credentials here that you set up. Okay, once that's there and running, we're going to go back to the terminal. I'm going to make a directory for my information. I have one typed earlier done, just bloodhound underscore ingester. Again, you can make this directory whatever you want to call it. Just a name that you'll recognize and that you know. So we'll do that, ls, and you'll see that it's created here. And all these other files is from the first session of the study group that showed how to dump this from the domain controller using that. There's a LDAP domain dump. So we're going to change into that directory that we just made. See that there's nothing in here. I'm going to use Control L to clear my screen and go back to the top. Now, in order to pull this information for Bloodhound, you're going to use a username and a password that you've already found from your domain enumeration, like a NTLM hash that you've already cracked. Like I said, this is a continuation of the first video, so if you watch it and kind of follow into this, you'll be right in line where you need to be to run this. The credentials we found in the last video was fcastle for the username, and the password was password1. So that's what we're going to use here. We'll do sudo /home /Kali. This is just where this lives, is why we do it this way. Local /bin /bloodhound python, so forth and so on. This -d that you guys see here, that stands for domain. The domain we're going against is marvel.local. Username, you're going to do -u. Fcastle is our username. -p is for password. That's there. NS, like our name server, and this is the IP address of my domain controller that I have, and I want to capture all the information that I can with Bloodhound. Make sure my server is still on. Yep. So with that, you'll run it. You'll see that it found the AD domain, marvel.local, 10 users, 4 computers, all the information that it could pull, it dumped into this folder that you've created. So now that we have this saved where we want it, we're going to go back to Bloodhound. And if you guys like the dark setting, that's my preference. I think when you open Bloodhound, it's going to be like bright white. I just prefer the dark mode, so easier on the eyes. So we'll do that, close this out. Like I said, on the right hand side, you're going to see an upload button. And we'll click upload. Then it's going to ask you where you have your data. So go to where you saved it. Directory, Pjpt, bloodhound. I'm going to copy all these files. You're just going to hit open. And it's going to load these up into Bloodhound for you. All 100%. And we can hit clear finish so we know they're all there. Now on the left, you're going to have this menu drop down. So you can click on that little hamburger option here at the left. And then you'll see node info and analysis. So we'll click analysis. So this is where you can kind of come in, find all your domain admins, your domain trusts, computers with unsupported operating systems. Like if you had a Windows 7 operating system or something on here that would get flagged, it would show up. Find computers for domain users, local admin. A lot of good stuff on here. One of the favorites I like on here is find list all coverable accounts or find coverable users with most privileges. So if you click this, it's going to show you the SQL service. And this is because it's a coverable user, and I think it's the only one, I believe. Yeah, I'm just zooming out. So, and if you sit, as you watched in our last stream that I done, you see that we done a cover-roasting attack against this SQL service to gain access to the main controller. If we do list all cover-roasting accounts, you'll see this Caribbean TJT. This is the ticket grant and ticket system. This is valuable if you can get this and get the main controller. This also allows you to do golden ticket attacks. I have a video on my YouTube with that as well if you want to check that out. So this is pretty much anything you do like that you can load in here with Bloodhound. It's very useful. You can see kind of where people have privileges, what they can access, and you can do find all paths from domain users, high value targets. You'll pick your domain. Didn't return any, so okay. Let's look for find all domain admins. Zoom this out. Close this back. And it will list out all your domain admins. And you hover over at Hawkeye, SQL Service, T-Stark, and Administrator. So if you gain access to one of these accounts, you have access to being domain administrator, and then therefore you can dump the secrets of the domain controller. So also with Bloodhound, you can come in here and you can right click and you can mark this user as owned. So if you've got their credentials and their username and everything, you can mark it as owned. It puts a little skull and bones kind of thing cross over it so that you know you own that account. So we'll unmark it. And if you click on them, it gives you a little more like reachable high value targets, like what all they have access to. Bloodhound's really useful to kind of have like a visual of where everything goes so you can see it, like not just guessing, like trying to look through like terminal, trying to find what all they have access to. But you can come into Bloodhound and visually see what all they have access to, where they go, and what's all in the group policy, the domain admins. Very useful. LDAP domain, I think, is a little more useful to see things more visually for me anyways. But get on here, play around with Bloodhound. Pretty useful, but we'll go ahead and leave this up and running, and we'll go ahead and jump in. I'll show you guys how to use plumhound. Yeah, I'm doing okay. Where you ask how I'm doing, just fighting off a cold, something seasonal or something, and you're welcome. Just I hope I can help you guys pass. I had a guy reach out a couple days ago, commented on my other PJPT video, like study tips, and said he had passed by watching my video and using my advice. So I was really glad to hear that. So I'll do my best to help you guys any way I can. So we'll do plumhound real quick. Alright, let me minimize this. So plumhound, if you've done like the Pimp My Cali install and so it's going to be in your opt folder. So we'll change directories. Go up a couple. And let's see what I'm at there. I'll change to my opt folder. LS that. You'll see here that I have plumhound installed. So in my last video I was going to demonstrate bloodhound and plumhound, but I couldn't remember my password and username, and reason being, see, it was another virtual machine. I hadn't even set that up on that machine yet to even be used, so that was why the password I had wasn't working. When you have 7 or 8 virtual machines, it's hard to remember all of them. So we'll go ahead and change into plumhound. LS that. You'll see we have plumhound.py. And we're going to run this with sudo privileges as well. We're going to do Python 3 plumhound.py-x. This is the task that you wanted to run. And then it's going to run the default task -p, which is going to be your password to your Neo4j instance that you have running, which I use something simple just for this demonstration. Neo4j1 was my password for my Neo4j console that we started here. And you do have to have bloodhound running in order for this to work. So once you have that in there, we'll hit enter to let that run. You'll see that it runs the task through there. Complete it to 119, non-lethal errors occur. We'll do ls. And rerun that again. So it should dump it to reports, but I did delete that earlier, so that might be part of the reason. But it will dump everything in here, and you can look at it with Firefox. Okay, have a reports thing now. Let's see if it'll run it. There we go. Didn't have anywhere to put it because I deleted the directory, but so I completed 119 of 119 tasks. So once it's done, you'll ls this again. You'll see my directory of reports. This is where it puts everything. So we'll change directory, go to reports, ls this. Well, let me clear it to go to the top, make a little more room. So here's all the reports that it just pulled from the domain controller you're using through Bloodhound. It has a lot of CSV files, like your local admin. Like if you want to take this off and like look on Microsoft Excel, this would be the format that you need to do that. Also has own computers, own groups, own objects. The most important file on here to really go look at is going to be your index.html file. You'll see that here. So do Firefox index.html. I'll wait on the browser to pull that up. Okay, so this is kind of like a nice just interface to go in and look at. Has like your domain groups, domain user accounts. See, we have 11. If you hit details, it'll open it up and kind of look like the LDAP domain dump looks. So depending on how much information you get with Bloodhound, this can be useful, but this can also be found with LDAP domain dump. But if you can't find it with LDAP domain dump, sometimes Bloodhound will work if you have access to an account. But it's pretty much the same information that you need. It'll show you all the users, when their password, if it never expires, if it's required. It says high value, has all these marked as false, which I don't agree with, because we know SQL service was definitely high value, especially with their password here. So we were able to dump the domain controller contents in the first study group live stream that I done. So we know that's not right, but we do know, and like here, administrator says it's not high value, which we know that is as well. You can hit the back button on your directory. Cover multiple users. We've seen that before too. You got the KRB TJT, which is taking grant and ticket, and SQL service, which has their password as well on there. So let's see, alpha y the opt directory. So tmux I've never used. I would assume that you could, as long as you have the file on there. It goes in the opt directory just because you can actually make a link to it and you can run a plumhound from about anywhere. But that's just like one of the suggestions from the PH course that you go through to put plumhound in the opt directory, as well as your Pjpt install that you guys do. Let me go back and let me go to that directory, new tab. Yeah, so a lot of your tools that you run, like CrapMac is going to be here, LinPs, WinPs is here, the Pjpt that you do is all here. It installs everything as options. And this is so you can run it from command line, from like any folder that you're in. Like you don't always have to be in opt. You could run plumhound somewhere, but you would have to put the opt as first / bloodhound, like the full link, the file, to get it to run. But that's a good question, Alpha. So we'll go back to our folder here. I have to admit, I got my mic in front of me. I can't see part of my screen. So domain groups. Trying to think anything else really interested on here. Let's see, desync relationships. So this is direct relationships with the domain controller of marvel.local. If you guys have any questions, anything I can help you with, something you might run into if you took the Pjpt, like, I mean, I think I've covered pretty much everything, including Bloodhound and Plumhound now, so this is kind of your guys' time if you have a certain question you want to ask, or something you want to look at, or something's not clear, or whatever's best for you. Like, this here is also good, the passwords, you can tell how long it's been since they've changed it, like greater than a year old. So you can see the ones that set up, because I set this up probably a year and a half ago, so that's why those are on there. So it's been a little while. Certificate template and domain enterprise admins. Look at that. See SQL service, T-Star administrator. So okay, get out of this terminal. Close this back down because I don't need it now. Alright, so guys, it's up to you. If there's something you want to ask or look at, just let me know, because that's all I had for the stream. Just kind of go over the Bloodhound and Plumhound for you guys to kind of show you how that works. We'll hang out and chat here for a little bit, and then if you think of something, or you can comment down below. Let me pull the link up for the other video. I'll drop it in chat for you guys to go watch it as well. Let me get to it, and then that way you guys will have it. So I'm talking about the other Pjpt thing that I had that people kind of got some value from too. So let me copy that link. I'll drop that in here as well. Looking more in the post cover. Okay. Let's see. So I covered a lot of that in the first video. So successful methodologies about this. I kind of go over the steps that I followed in the first stream, but my first thing is pretty basic. I start with, well, once I have access through their VPN or whatever that you're using, same way like a real pen test, I start with enumerate to discover the machines that are live on the network. Once I do that, I'll run I'll either do -A with Nmap, an aggressive scan, or I'll run the script for the SMB so that I can see which ones have SMB enabled but not signed. And like in this environment that I have built, there's 2 that's enabled but not required, and the only one that is the server, which is real world because most of your computers do not have SMB signed enabled and required. So that kind of allows you to capture that NTLM hash. Once you capture that hash, you're going to want to test it against every machine on that network using something like crackmap.exec to see where all you have access to. If you have access to other computers, you want to dump the creds from their SAM file on there. So once you have the SAM file and their users, you'll have their name and their hash file. You want to try to crack those as well. And if you crack, say, like an administrator, local admin, or something like that, rinse and repeat. Every hash and name that you crack and you have like username credentials, test every machine that's on that network that you haven't tested yet. Pay close attention to everything you find. Take notes, take screenshots, because that's going to be, a real bulk of your report showing evidence that you compromised that user, if it's password reuse or if they're using the same admin account across 10, 15 computers, because that happens all the time. Reason being, it's easy. If I fix 3 computers in my network, or I'm setting up 3 new ones, it's easier for me to remember, go, oh, I use this, this, and this for every computer I've done. So if I ever have to go work with again as local admin, I know the password. So it's bad practice. There's ways around that to have your Active Directory handle the passwords as well. So once I've done that, I've dumped all that, I move into my next step, which usually, depending on what I found, if I found like a KRB kind of ticket rent and ticket hash, I'll try to crack that. If I have that cracked, I will try it against the domain controller. A lot of times to see if it's running as if the service account is running as an admin, or if it's just a service account, because a lot of times they will run it as admin, which is another bad idea as well. So let me look at one of my old pen tests that I've done. Pull my stuff back up here. So once you correct that, you've tested all. It's like he said, you're doing rinse and repeat over and over and over. Just trying. Most of your privilege escalation initially is going to be horizontal. You're just going to go from one user to another to another to another till you find somebody that has domain admin credentials, and then you're going to escalate your privileges to take over that account. So therefore, you can step up and go against the domain controller. So you have that. You tried your local admin. Like I said, if you find administrator account, local or domain, run that against all machines as well, just like you would any other one. See what you have access to. You're running like crackmap.exec or something like that, and it'll show you it's a green arrow, I think, and it'll say like pwned or something at the end of it, showing that you do have access to that account or that computer. Then I start my tools. I'll have man in the middle 6 running if it works. I'll still have like responder going, still trying to capture hashes. I'll try MSF console, like interpreter, to run to see if I can get a shell. If I can get a shell, I'll try to do token impersonation. If an administrator has been on there, to impersonate the administrator, local or domain administrator. Domain administrator would be a lot better, because if you can impersonate that, you can add your own account, which I demonstrate this in the other video of the first live stream, how to impersonate the administrator's token to get to the domain controller. Trying to think after that, because I'm trying to separate like test and real world. Real world, if you having a hard time, you're not getting access, you're going to ask for credentials so you can further your testing, because if you can't get access, that's good, but you're kind of doing a disservice to a company if you're like, well, you're good, we can't get in. It's not. You want those credentials so you can test further, and just in case they are breached, because hackers have all the time in the world to break your network. When you're doing a pen test, you might have a week or 2 at the most, depending on what they let you, what do they want to pay for, and how much time you have to invest. So Uh, if I'm on site, like I was saying in my other video, I would try to go to like a printer and change the IP address to my attack machine, like my Kali machine, so that I can capture the credentials coming across in plain text. So then I'll have domain credentials. Um, that's that's pretty much it. I mean, other than running nmap and checking services running, see if maybe there's a vulnerability with a certain service that's not been updated, like an update hasn't been completed. You know, there's a vulnerability, known vulnerability, like CVE for it. That's kind of getting out of the scope of the test, but real world, you would use like exploit DB or search exploit inside terminal, so you can do that. So, I think that's pretty much covered all of that. Let's see. I see here more. Yeah, see, that's exactly what it did. Compromise first two machines. Yeah. So, yeah, it's just rinse and repeat. More. So, dump the SAM files from those computers. See what you have access to. You get cough drop gas. Like I said, you may have administrators, you may have other users that have more privileges. You may have like a KRB hash or something along those lines, but it's just you keep stepping up, up, and up. You know, for a long time, you may have to go horizontal. Like real world, you might go, I don't know how many, say they have 100 machines, you might go through 10 or 15 horizontally before you ever hit a credential that you can actually escalate, you know, your privileges where you want to be. So, the Prevest course that Heath has on their TCM, which they just retired, so if you didn't buy it, I think it's gone as of today, but it does a lot of walkthrough and stuff, show you ways to kind of do privilege escalation, but you don't need it for this exam. But it is a good course if you happen to buy it. I think they have that Linux Prevest for $100 right now to buy both, and that's lifetime access. And I was talking about in my first stream, like, you know, if you have access and you can, through firewalls, not turn on everything, and you can run Mimikatz like I showed you guys, those sometimes are Trevor Trolls, depending on how the server is, if they have plain credentials. This isn't always the case, like I showed you in the previous video. There's not a, with nothing there. So, but you need to test everything you can and just follow the steps. And if you get to a point you're kind of stuck, like, well, I'm hitting a wall, start over. Don't be afraid to go back and start from square one. So, see in the SAM, how do you know how to differentiate between a local admin and a domain admin? Let me pull up that file. I remember which one. Dot. I don't know if I had screenshots from before of another one. Give me just a second, or I'm checking on it for you, and then see if I can somehow provide you a picture of what it says. And sometimes it'll just say you'll have like local admin on there, or depends on if like somebody's name, like they're using their name as a domain administrator. Normally it says administrator. Let me fire up these other machines. We can kind of run a dump on it, and I'll show you. So let's see. Let me see what my other users thing looks like. Yeah, I didn't think I had everything. That's just Frank's. Yeah, I don't think I have a screenshot, because that would be helpful if I already had one done, because it takes a little bit of time for my machines to come back up. Just trying to find a recent screenshot, because I think I took one the other day when I was showing you guys. Let's see. That's not it. That's running crack map. That was the TLM. Yeah, I'll just start the other machines and run it. Unless I can do Spider-Man, it'll be fine. We'll wait on that to come up and then we'll run through a couple of things. I have all my virtual machines on a actual hard disk drive, so it takes a little bit longer to spin up versus like an SSD or NVMe. So come on, fingers, work for me today. Trying to get everything set up here real quick. Turn my SMB back on. Or I may not need it. See if I can skip some steps. So domain, plumhound. Console. Yeah, I still want to run responder. I was trying to think if I could skip a couple of steps and get kind of right to what we needed. So, let me go to my Spider-Man machine here, just so I can generate this traffic real quick. tab. We'll run sudo ntlm relay. While that's running, go back and make traffic again here. Connection. It may not dump them because I probably already have this. It's hard trying to start in the middle instead of going through all the steps. I plan on taking another certifications next. Not at the moment. I have 10 that I've got in the last 2.5 years. I was thinking about OSCP, but the cost is ridiculous. And from what I've read about their training stuff, it isn't that great. Everybody's suggesting doing Hack the Box or TCM's courses to take it. I might eventually do the PNPT. Maybe, I don't know, because I run my business full time doing pen testing, so it's hard to make time to study and to put in the hours that I would need to. So definitely not easy. So let's see. Main trust group. Kill this. We'll go ahead and delete this folder and we'll start kind of fresh. I'm just making a new directory and getting rid of all the other stuff I had. So, because I think it's thing like duplicate and it's not going to dump because I already have it. So we see there's nothing there. Let's kill this. I don't need this anymore. This. Yes. Yeah, no, I don't blame you. The prices are high. I know. I got my CEH year before last, I think it was, and for their course and test, it was like $2,000 American. So I was like, and I don't like to bash people, but their training was subpar to say the least. That was probably the worst training course I've been through. Like I've been through Udemy courses that were better than the CEH training that I had from them. And you know, you can get Udemy courses for like $20 American. So alright, so let me start here from the beginning. Let me go fix my responder real quick. Generate some traffic from that machine. We have Peter Parker's username, hash. There's something too, like I would take a screenshot of this and have to my report to any NTLM hashes or anything that you crack. So I'm just going to copy this. P. Parker. Use mouse pad. Paste that in there. Save that. I run hashcat. I go ahead and try to crack that I just got. Parker, user, share, list, rock you. Let that run. Shouldn't take real long to crack that. Okay, you see it's cracked here, and then this is the password, which is password 1 for Peter Parker. So go back to my responder, stop that. Go back, turn SMB off. Yes, enter. So now we'll work on doing the SMB relay. So this we can relay user credentials. Now to relay, you have to be an admin on the machine for any value. I don't know. I don't remember if I set Peter Parker up as a admin on that machine. So that probably won't work that way. Let me get my Punisher machine back up too, because I know Frank Castle is a admin on a local machine, local admin. Sure. Meantime, I'll go turn the SMB back off so I can fix that back. And then capture fcastle's hash so we can relay it. I hear good things about Hack the Box's course for their penetration tester. I hear it's extremely challenging, I guess. I mean, I don't really say it's hard. I mean, if you put in the work and do the study and go through the boxes, you know, you'll get there. But I hear that's enough to go through that and you can pass OSCP. I can't attest to that because I haven't taken it. I haven't done Hack the Box's stuff, but from what I've read and seen other people post, they said that's all they use to pass. So, and I don't think Hack the Box is expensive. I do try Hack Me's where I got started, so I have subscription to them, like a yearly thing that I do. So, but some of their stuff, I was looking at AWS the other day, and they want to charge you an extra $375 to do, I think it was 3 months access to have AWS, when you can go to Amazon's web server and set up your own and do like the free tier and have your own kind of network to test against. So especially before I pay $375 to something I'm already subscribed to as well to have that additional functionality. Let's see if the Punish machine is up. Yep. Get logged into it real quick too. Maybe. Okay. 30 user. Castle. I'm just waiting on this to load so I can capture the NTLM from FCastle because I know it's a admin account, local admin account. All right. Alright, get responder running again. Go over here and generate my traffic. Like I said, you don't have to worry about doing this on the exam. Like, they have traffic flowing, so it works. So castles here. Go ahead and stop that. Copy. Mouse pad. Castle hash. Go ahead and save that. Same thing, we'll run hashcat to crack it. And 600. So same word list as before. And rock you. And it's gonna crack. Same thing again. It's gonna be password 1 as well. So same password. Go fix responder again so we can do the relay. Responder. Should turn that off. Yep. Tab. I think I sudo relay. Yeah. Sudo TLM relay. We'll go back to Punisher. This, generate my traffic again. Oh, I know why I didn't. My domain list isn't there. I forgot to rebuild that. Forgot when I deleted my folder, I didn't add that back. Alright. 30. Alright, so it should run now. Finally. Okay. So normally your local account, or it's just going to be this, just this local 500, it's just going to say administrator. You also see, like, guess if this is accounts that is on the computer because it's local SAM hashes, this is local to that machine. Reason it dumps the local is because FCastle is a local admin on that machine. So if you dump local, you should see local. The only time you're going to dump domain hashes is when you're hitting like against the domain controller. But you should see local on there. So I've already said, is the PJPT a really good introduction to pen testing? Obviously, it's in the name, but is it really real world applicable? I feel like those things are irrelevant considering their oldness. So, PJPT is 100% real world applicable. This is the same tools I run on a real pen test. So, you do the same thing in real world to dump the NTLM hashes, crack those, try to crack them offline. Some of them you're not going to crack a lot of hashes with RockU, just be honest. That's just kind of for the exam and for like demonstration purposes. Real world, you may crack some with RockU, people that use terrible passwords if they don't have a real good password policy in place. If their password policy is good, like more than 8 or 10 characters, special characters, different capitalization, symbols, that kind of thing, RockU's not going to pop a lot of those, if any. So, just heads up, it's not... RockU use is not so much real world usable for a lot of stuff. You can use it for like Wi-Fi passwords. People use really insecure Wi-Fi passwords, and RockU will pop some of those. But Hashcat has built-in modules where you can set the limit that you want, and like if maybe they use an exclamation point or an asterisk at the end of their thing, you can set up make it guess the first 7 characters, and you can tell it to use letters or numbers, symbols, and then you can set the last character for that asterisk or whatever, and it will brute force every bit of that and run through it. It's really labor intensive on a CPU. It's better to have a GPU. And if you're trying to do brute force cracking, you really want call it a Kraken farm, GPU farm. You'd want 4 or 5 GPUs in a row that can really hammer the hashes and stuff that you pull to crack them. So, yes, PJPT is 100% applicable in the real world. The PNPT that they offer, about the only difference, and that is that you start externally outside the network. Some companies will do an external pen test to see what they have public facing, just to kind of see what all's out there and what's accessible to the public. So with the PNPT, you're going to have to gain access externally, find a vulnerability to get you into the network. Once you're in the network, then this is where kind of the PJPT stuff comes in to play, your CEH, or not CEH, my bad, PEH. Of course, all that comes into play, your interpreter and MSF console, your NTLM, hashes this crack map exec, responder, man in the middle 6 is real world. So, yeah, I have nothing but respect and stuff for Heath and his team for their course. It's really top notch. It's one of the, if not the best course that I've been through as far as introduction to penetration testing. As you get further along and you learn more about Nmap and you run certain scripts to look for vulnerabilities, or if you're doing web app pen testing, there's a thing called Wapalizer. And if you go to a website, it'll tell you what I was running on that website and what version it is. So you can look back and you can check that version for exploits against it. So, go ahead and cancel out of this. But yeah, like I said, it says local on it. And then I would do a screenshot of this as well for a pen test for a client, showing them that you dumped it and that it was a local admin. Once you have that too, you can also run crackmap to see what all access that local admin has access to. So you would take this hash, and you only need this portion to crack. Once you crack it, you could reuse it using crackmap against everything on the network. And if you pop, 2, 3 machines or more, that's password reuse by a local admin and account reuse. So that's another, like I was saying, it's a no-no that you don't want to do on a network. So... But good question. Yeah, like I said, it says local on there, that it dumps the local, but you have to have, whoever the user is has to be a local administrator on that account that you're dumping. So, but good question. So, consider their oldness. Also, with that question about talking about their oldness, I know some places are still running Windows 7, and I worked in the medical field for 15 years. I was a radiology tech, and I was a director of radiology for 4 years. I know some x-ray equipment is still out there that's running Windows XP. So, it's old. It needs to be taken out and replaced. But x-ray equipment is very expensive. Some people don't have it in the budget and don't want to spend the money because an x-ray room is $200,000 to change it out. So a lot of your local small facilities may not be able to do that or afford it. And the machines they have won't run on anything newer like Windows 11 or even Windows 10 is going end of life this year. So there is still those out in the wild, as well as Windows 7. I have seen that as well. And Windows 7 is terrible if it's not patched for MS017, I think it is. It's the name leaves me now. I just had it on the tip of my tongue. Eternal Blue vulnerability hack that was belonged to the NSA at one time and was leaked, and now it's public knowledge that it exists. So, yep, that's it. Eternal Blue. I could not for the life of me. Like, I don't know if it's just like the congestion and stuff messing with me or just a brain fart. So, but yeah, so you can do, I think it's search exploit. You could do, I think it's MS017. Sounds right. Let's try Eternal Blue. But yeah, Eternal Blue was, I'm trying to remember, I think it's 017 or something like that's the thing on there. But it's still applicable today to people that haven't patched Windows 7 machines. And what I was saying earlier with like exploit DB, like if you're doing like a real pen test and you're looking for vulnerabilities to certain services, you can go in here and you just type Eternal Blue, or if you had like a service. So if I could type correctly, yeah, you'll see. Here's the exploit stuff they have. It'll show like what code is run, and you can modify it, and you can get vulnerabilities from here to run the code instead of trying to write from scratch or depend on like Metasploit, which Metasploit gets blocked by a lot of anti like malware stuff, antivirus stuff. So yeah, MS17 is what it was, 010. So that's one of the more popular ones. So some good websites too, as you kind of further on. I know it's not really in scope, but I've just seen it, made me think about it. Is Hacktricks through I think book. Yeah, he has a website. I think they also have it on GitHub as well. To go in here and find stuff for like hacking. Let's see, like pen testing networks. Like I said, this is nothing to do with the exam, but I just happened to remember seeing it up there and it made me think about it. Do you see like Windows Local Rivesk? So it's like a treasure trove of information. So I'll drop that link in there for you too, if anybody wants to check it out. It's good. I think this is Rev shells. Yeah, this is going to build reverse shells. Runs like NCAT stuff. It'll pretty much put everything in for you. You just put the IP address that you're going after, and then the port that you want to listen on, and you just hit the button and it'll build it for you, the script that you would run. So yeah, so next big thing in offensive cybersec, for more and more people in the defensive field, and for one man, it'd be almost possible to conduct a pen test next year. Yes and no. From French Academy. Sure, is it like a link or something, or I think there are going to be a lot more people trying to jump in on hacking and stuff now as well, mainly because some of the Pjpt stuff it's getting built, and some people trying to use AI to do things. Some of what you call like script kiddies as well. Yes, there is a lot of people trying to do the defensive field, but normally the side of defense is kind of behind the techniques of the offense, because there's new exploits coming out every day that there's nothing that's been made to be flagged, and you have people that can write their own scripts that can evade antivirus, anything that's going to pick it up by obfuscation. So I I get doing it. It's tough doing it on your own because, especially if you're doing a pen test for a company that has 200 or 300 computers, that's really labor intensive to try to skip and jump and dump everything and keep the files. And then if they have, when you dump the NTDS off the domain controller, you may have 150, 200 users hashes that you're going to try to run through and crack and put in an Excel spreadsheet that you could show the people that run that, like the company, like, hey, I cracked all these passwords. So it's really good, like I said, to have like a GPU farm. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd look into that. So about a GitHub project from AD Hacking. Yeah, I'm all about learning. It's I don't claim to be an expert. I started like the ethical hacking side probably about 3 years ago now, and I still learn something new every day. I'm constantly learning. Like I'm just started this past week diving into API hacking and some AWS stuff because that seems to be a lot too. And you see a lot of headlines about the S3 buckets that are leaking because of misconfigurations and people's AWS servers are getting hacked. So yes, I'm a huge fan of GitHub. I have a few things on there for like Flipper Zero, some stuff that I wrote to like Rickroll some friends and things, but I don't have a lot on there. I don't have a lot of tools that I've built and put on there. I'm in the process of trying to finish up a vulnerability scanner built with Python, which is like a personal project. I mean, I love Nessus. It does a great job. So, I mean, I'll stick with Nessus. Their price for the professional is it's north of like $2,500 US now. So it's a lot for a yearly subscription. And then I like Burp Suite. I normally do community for the most part, but it's not bad on price. It's like $475 American, somewhere around there. And then I've just recently started testing what's the Kaido. So it seems to be pretty good. It's fast. I'm a creature of habit with Burp Suite's interface, so that's kind of my bread and butter because I know where to look for my proxy and where to look for intruder and repeater and how to, URL encode and things I need to do. I know where all that is in Burp Suite versus Kaido is like just a learning curve, but it seems to be pretty promising. The price isn't bad either, so. But yeah, anything AD hacking, yeah, I'm all about getting better at the craft. Like I talked to some guys yesterday that do it, and we were talking about you have people that claim to know everything, and nobody knows everything. If they do, they're lying, because cybersecurity is so full and changing every minute. New hacks, new software is coming out all the time that's not always tested appropriately. So because most companies want your devs to just push stuff out as fast as you can. And they kind of lax on security sometimes because you got a deadline to meet. So. Yeah, anything you want to send, or I would definitely check it out for sure. So. I don't know if there's anybody else got any questions or anything that we can look at. Well, this code or whatever is kicking my butt though. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. Have you scheduled to retake that yet? I know, like I said, the guy that reached out the other day, I can't think of his name or what his YouTube name was now, but he was able to pass second time around by watching the videos I put up, so I was glad of that. I'm glad I was able to help somebody. So that's what it's all about, paying it forward. May, beginning of June. Yeah, that's a pretty good window to give you some kind of like a cool off period and a little more study time. Like I said, I went through 3 different steps. It looks like. Okay, I was like, what's up with my video? I thought I was lagging real bad. Yeah, I went through 3 ways to do it, and then like pretty much everything you can run. So I think I'm fairly confident if anybody watches this stream and the last one and watches my Pjpt study tips about taking good notes, they won't have any issues. You got to pay attention to the details on this test and even real world, because something as small as saying local or whatever, you may just overlook. Like I did, like I said before, I was stuck. I want to say it's 5 hours and just down a rabbit hole and frustrated. And the more I looked at it, like the more angry I got. And then if you're angry, you're not going to be able to focus anyways. So, like I said, I got up and my fiance had made us dinner, and I went to sit down and had some fantastic lasagna and ate, come back, clear headed, relaxed. As soon as I sat down, boom. It was like, really, like there it was. And then got it, started my report, submit it. I think it was 2 days, maybe 3. I can't remember now, and I failed. And I was like, man, what did I do? I was like, I got the main controller, I had all the usernames, I cracked the passwords, and it was my report. So that's just, a tip I would give too is make sure your report is very, very detailed. The example that Heath gives on his GitHub, yeah, that lasagna was magical, man, to say the least. She teases me all the time now. She's like, well, if you have another test or something, let me know and I'll make you another lasagna so you can pass it. So it's a running joke. So it's good though. She's a good woman. So we're getting married in October. Looking forward to it. So, but yeah, just on your report, as much detail as you can. Like I said, as much screenshots as you can. Like I took a ton of screenshots. Some of them I couldn't fit. Like they didn't have their place per se in the report. But I done like a couple additional sheets. Like here are some additional screenshots. Same thing I would do for a company. Like here's some additional screenshots. Like or if you're real world, if like your team catches you, like kudos to them. Here's what they found, and if you have a screenshot of it. So thank you for that. Yeah, it's we're excited. We're gonna get married and we're gonna honeymoon in Dominican Republic. It'll be my first time out of the country, so it'll be interesting. But I'm looking forward to it. So. Oh, so on the GitHub project you have there, do you have a link or something I can follow, or a name of the GitHub, what it's called, or that way I can check it out too? There's so much tools and stuff out there these days. It's crazy how much there is. Some other machines. What? That's funny. Usually my other machines have kicked off by now. Send you my field report to see if I would have failed. Well, the thing with, I don't think it's a bad idea, but the thing with your report is it's going to be a lot more lengthier when you compromise the domain controller. So mine, I think I was at 30 pages time it was all said and done. But I've read some people done 40 and 50 pages or even more to like go in even more detail. So my first one I submitted, I think was 20, I can't remember, 22, 23, somewhere around there. So yeah, just make sure you detail the steps and the screenshots and put everything in. If you follow his like template, like what he has and kind of the same screenshots he has on his example report, you'll be fine. But very detailed in your breakdown, like how you got access, what you done, what were your steps, like how did you gain access to make sure, like verbatim, very detailed, not just like, don't keep it simple like, oh, I cracked this hash and then I done this. Like, you know, further a little bit, how did you crack the hash? What did you use? What switches did you use? Like, very detailed, like even like the minute stuff, so that anybody coming up could take your report, go to their network, follow line by line on your report, do that same exact pen test and get the same exact results that you got. So I think if you spend that long and you reschedule it for June and you go through these videos like this stream and the last one and just practice and pay attention, and even go on your computers like your ones that you set up for your lab and set up some new accounts and put some passwords in and see if you can capture those and crack those hashes. It's your own time, your free time, you know, just how much do you want to invest? You could spend days, weeks, months just over and over testing, you know, adding new things, trying different configurations, trying to break things. So only got 6 reported findings, so it was like 20-ish pages. Right. So if you got that many in your 20 pages, you're probably going to be okay. You could probably do a little bit further, and once you get domain controller and stuff that you find there and everything, you will probably be close to 28, 30 pages. So, like I said, just very good, detailed what you do, and you'll be fine. I got faith in you. I think you'll pass. You've been here and you've stuck around and asked the right questions. I think you're going to do good. So, next time I see something from you, it'll be you telling me you're celebrating. So, that you passed. You'll have to celebrate with some lasagna when you pass it. Yeah, I was trying to think. I don't remember how many reported findings like there was on mine, but I know I had oh yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, I'll definitely be waiting on you to tell me when you pass. So, but yeah, I had a ton of screenshots though, because I wanted 100% sure that, you know, that they seen like everything that I accessed or ran, and it's the same that I would do for a company I'm running against. So I want them to visually see it. There you go. Yeah, ask your mom to make a great lasagna. Yep, I'm with you. So nothing like it, man. It's good comfort food. So, all right, brother. If you got anything else, man, you can comment on this video once it posts, or reach out. I have my business email. I'll drop that in here for you. If you wanna, you can email me sometime if you need something, or if I'm not on here. So that way you'll have that. I have a autoresponder set up, so when you send something, like, it'll auto respond, but I'll eventually see it in between all the mess or everything else I have going on. Because I also do web design, so if I'm not busy pen testing, I'm usually trying to design websites for businesses and stuff locally or whatever. So try to stay busy, but I try to make time for YouTube, because YouTube helped me get where I'm at, as well as Udemy. So I want to pay it forward to people, because I never had a lot of money growing up, and I had to learn a lot of things by trial and error. And I know a lot of people don't have money to spend on all these trainings and courses and monthly fees, and so I want to be able to help people out for the price of, you know, free 99. Don't cost you anything. So, but I'll jump off here, man. I appreciate you guys watching, and then I'll see you next time. I don't know if I'll do another live stream for Pjpt, because I've covered everything in these two, but I'll probably do some other live streams, maybe like some Try Hack Me rooms, or maybe something else, just like, I don't know. We'll get into something. But appreciate you guys watching. You're welcome. Take care, and we'll see you next time.